So, it has come to my attention that the Food Stamp Office, DES, Department of Economic motherfucking Security, doesn't want to complete my application. It's still sitting on pending verification. I've sent y'all the paperwork over and over. I'm over it at this point. I think a lot of people are with me with they saying they over the application process because it's so strenuous that they not even approving shit. Just tell you that you ain't turned your fucking paperwork in, like on some weirdo shit.
Well. Roughly 400,000 individuals, people in Arizona are signaling that the SNAP runaround isn't worth it. Just not worth it. Now, I'm not going to classify everyone in this specific bucket that I'm going to state here, which is that this is a telling sign or indicator that some able-bodied citizens do not want to work. Like they do not want to work. And that some want a type of reparations, it feels like, because of an ideology that is immune from taking accountability for your actions. Like the woman in the first clip here, she resides in Arizona, is experiencing the significant delay with the Department of Economic Security in processing her SNAP paperwork. Now, I'm not sure she realizes this, but Arizona is one of the 22 majority Democrat-run states that is refusing to provide the SNAP data to the USDA. Now, the stance that Arizona is taking is causing a downstream impact to DES, to where they've had to reduce their workforce by 36% in 2025. And because of that, the governor of Arizona has been trying to find, funds to be able to help with the backlog, but it's not making a significant impact right now. It really isn't. Now, the governor has to take these measures because based upon the current framework in regards to these federal funds being released from USDA to their constituents is 50-50. Currently, right now, USDA is not paying that 50%. So the governor has to scramble to try to find the funding to be able to keep DES afloat. It's interesting that the 22 states are taking this approach. And what they're really saying is that, hey, we don't want to give you the data and keep sending us those checks too, because of the kids and the veterans. That appears to be the argument that they want to sell to the public in regards to this whole ordeal. And the reason why the USDA needs the SNAP data is based upon what they pretty much found out with the 28 states that did comply with USDA and supply them with their SNAP data, to where they found that 186,000 deceased people were still receiving SNAP benefits. Wild to me. And 500,000 people were receiving SNAP benefits in more than one state, which is, again, wild. Now, if Arizona and these other states want to continue this conflict or this back and forth, I will say that in the 2027 fiscal year, which is later this year, they're going to have to pay more in administrative funding, because in the one big, beautiful bill, it changes really the framework or the shared cost of the 50-50 split that I spoke of earlier between the federal and the state government. And the new cost split between the federal government and the state government is going to be 75 to 25. And it means that the state is going to observe more of that administrative cost at 75%. And that's not even including the other financial mechanism that's at play here, which is the payment error rate. Now, with the payment error rate, you could see, or a state could see, up to an additional 5 to 15% of SNAP benefits funding that they will be responsible for paying if their payment error rate is above 6%. But without further ado, let's get into this news clip that reports on the 400,000 walking away, or in their case, not receiving the benefits. Now, I want you to pay attention to the framing that they continue to use throughout this clip. Let's dive in.
Well, this morning, we are learning about a really tough situation for nearly 400,000 Arizonans who no longer have access to their SNAP benefits. Yeah, 400,000. The State Department of Economic Security says federal laws for the food assistance program, they're tougher than they were in previous years, causing recipients to either leave the program or be removed from it. So breaking down these numbers for us, we've got our David Chazanoff joining us now live this morning. So David, how are Arizona lawmakers reacting to all of this?
Emma, good morning. So here at the state capitol, Governor Hobbs is proposing a budget that would offer more funding and staffing for the SNAP program.
I'm not too sure what's so hard about working for healthier foods. When you think about it, these restrictions are in place to hold the states and constituents accountable. That's what they're there for. And I'm not trying to oversimplify and ignore the emotional arguments in this case, but it is. I mean, that's what it is. And also, too, the USDA still has exemptions in place for those specific scenarios of individuals that may not be able to meet the guidelines in place. So I'm not getting it. But I digress.
Last October, we spoke with a woman who told us that if she were to ever be put in this position, that she would immediately turn to local food banks for help.
We'll have to come back because if we don't get food stamps, we're going to have to come back. We don't have an income. We're doing the best we can to become better people.
Food banks were very busy across the valley the last time funding for SNAP benefits were in jeopardy, which was during a government shutdown. According to the State Department of Economic Security, over 41% of Arizonans are no longer receiving food assistance as part of the program. This is all because of strict federal laws that were enforced for SNAP after lawmakers on Capitol Hill agreed to a new funding plan in July. The program now requires more adults to work to keep their benefits. This includes veterans and those who used to be in the foster care system. The SNAP director for the Food Research and Action Center says the program has really been a lifeline for millions of Americans.
Majority of people on SNAP are children, followed by people with disabilities, and then followed with people, older adults. They're veterans, youth aging out of foster care. It really does vary. But as a whole, it's individuals who rely on this benefit to be able to stretch their money, to be able to have the necessary food that they need in order to be able to go to work, go to school, be able to survive.
So we know Republican lawmakers sent Governor Hobbs a list of bills to address the SNAP program, but Governor Hobbs reportedly vetoed all of them. She said in a recent letter that it would have been very similar to what the State Department of Economic Security is already doing to improve this situation. We're at the state capitol. David Chazanoff, 12 News, today in AZ.
So, side note here, after listening to all that, not too sure if there's any correlation with this, but their labor force, or Arizona's labor force specifically, has grown by 0.2%, which, again, I don't know if this is related or not, but that's good. That's good. People are getting back to work. And I will say this is that the people in Arizona and the other states that are taking this stance, against the USDA and what they're asking for, those individuals that are needing those SNAP benefits, it may be a while. It may be a while before, at least to where they see DES being funded to the point to where they can meet their requests appropriately. And the reason why I say this is because a Bill Clinton appointed federal judge, Maxine Chesney of Northern California, issued a preliminary injunction on 226, which is just a few days ago, blocking the USDA from withholding administrative funds for the 22 states that refuse to turn over their SNAP data, arguing that the SNAP Act requires states to safeguard recipient information. However, it appears that it negates the fact that the One Big Beautiful Bill has financial levers that requires the SNAP data to hold states accountable, like we mentioned before, about finding all those deceased people receiving the SNAP benefits still, and the 500,000 people that were receiving SNAP benefits in other states. Now, with that preliminary injunction being filed, the USDA has 60 days to appeal the judge's decision in this instance, which, as you already know, based upon how this video's been going, is that the downstream impact is going to be DES in really not having the funding to be able to, hire the staffing that they need to meet these requests. So because of that, you're still going to see those long delays. Let me know what you think down in the comments. As always, be safe out there. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe to An Unaffiliated Mind. Until next time, deuces. Yes, sir.